Hello and welcome to a new video, guys. Today we are doing a girl chats, and as you can tell we have a bit of a different vibe going on. Sunny's out with his friends. I've got the whole apartment to myself, so I thought what better way to celebrate this moment than having a girls night in with you. Today we are bringing back the girls chats and I am so ready for this, and you guys came through with the dilemmas, let me tell you. So I don't want to waste any time. We're gonna get stuck straight into the video. I will of course be leaving everyone anonymous as I always do in these videos, and I'm just gonna go through the dilemmas and topics that you sent through to me that you want me to discuss in this video. I'll try and get through as many as possible. Someone asked how to deal with a person that doesn't treat you well / takes advantage of your soft nature. Wow, okay, this is one I can totally relate to. The way I've personally dealt with it and dealt with people that have taken advantage of me and just treated me badly is create distance. I think that is the ultimate best way to deal with any kind of negativity, is to distance yourself from it as much as you can. Now I know that's easier said than done, especially if this person that you're talking about is possibly a family member that lives under the same roof as you, but even still I would always advise as much distance as possible. If you live with them, spending less time in the house while they're there. Maybe if it's in a friendship group, maybe you just decline plans where they're around more often than not. But if you maybe do it in a gradual process, hopefully you won't come into too much conflict with that person, and the more distance you create, you can eventually just kind of remove them from your life altogether. So that's honestly my advice for dealing with people like that, because ultimately you can't change anyone else. You can't change the other people in your life. You can't change their behavior. You can't change the way they think. You can't change the way that they treat you. So there's no point trying. Of course, vocalize the fact that you feel like you're not being treated well by this person. Give them a chance to begin with to actually correct their behavior towards you, or to maybe see their wrongdoing and apologize for the way they treated you, because I don't believe that people always intentionally treat us badly. But I feel like it only becomes intentional once you've told them that that's how you're feeling, and there's no apology, there's no accountability, and they continue to do exactly what they've been doing. So at that point, I would probably say then start that process of distancing yourself if you've already had those conversations. I'm kind of already assuming that you've maybe brought this up with them, but if you haven't, I would definitely offer them the chance to kind of correct their behavior and actually understand that what they're doing is wrong, and understand that even if it's not intentional, it's affecting you badly. So give them that space to actually make a change in their behavior, but don't let that become a repeat pattern of you know, explaining this hurt me, and then they going, okay, I'm sorry, and then it becomes a cycle of you continually explaining something hurts you. Then they say, okay, I'm sorry, and then they do it again, and then you explain it hurt you. Don't get trapped in that cycle. I would say once or twice, vocalize how you feel. If that behavior is not corrected, that person does not care. That person does not care to correct their behavior. That person doesn't care to treat you well. And at that point, all you can do is create distance and remove yourself from the situation. You've got to be the one to set the boundaries and make sure you kind of remove yourself from that negative environment. Okay, the next one is more relationship focused. So I have a crush on my friend and he might like me back. He's a good friend, but we would be an awful partner from what I've seen, or at least he's not the kind of person I'd want to be with. We are quite young, brackets 19, so he's very immature and he has a few red flags, but I still have a crush on him and he has been hinting at liking me back too. What do I do? I can't just cut him off like I would with another crush who isn't good for me because we're friends. Okay, I'm telling you now, you are not taking anything further with this boy. I hope you're listening to this, and I hope you're watching this video, because I'm being deadly serious. Do not take it anything further. What you do is you sit on your feelings, okay? You don't act on them. You let yourself feel what you feel, because trust me, okay? You will honestly look back at this crush in maybe 5 years, even maybe 2 years time, and think, what on earth was I thinking? Like, crushes, when you're that age and when you're so young and when you're a teenager, they are so, it's just the most like meaningless feeling a lot of the time. And based on what you've told me about this boy, his red flags, the way that you know he won't be a good partner, absolutely do not act on your feelings, because you are just asking for trouble if that's the case. And no, I'm not saying that you have to cut him off as a friend. I'm not saying that you don't, you know, see him at all and you kind of make an issue of it. And I know it might be hard to still see him and have a crush on him and feel like you like him and you want to take things further, but girl, use your willpower and use that sensible brain of yours that I know you have, and do not act on those feelings. Absolutely leave him be. And if he tells you he likes you, and he might like you, doesn't matter, okay? Just leave it there, because you already know he's not going to be a good partner, and you already know he doesn't treat people well in a relationship. He might be a good friend to you, but leave it at that then. Be good friends with him, but don't take this situation further, because you are asking to be hurt. If you put yourself in that situation, you are actually asking to be hurt, because you already know up front that that is not a good situation for you to be in. And you already know up front what you're getting yourself into. So if you decide to go there, then be prepared to heal your own wounds, because that sounds like it's inevitable. There's a million other people out there that will actually be a good partner to you, and you'll actually meet later on in life. Like, there's no rush for you to, you know, be chasing any immature boys. So the next one is proper dilemma style. We are going in on this topic, and I'm just going to read this entire dilemma out for you. I'll also put it on the screen for you so you can pause and read for yourself, because it is a long one. I'm the only daughter in a brown household. I have one younger brother and one older brother. I'm in college now and at the age where my parents want me to help around the housework. I already do some chores here or there, but very minimal. My younger brother gets leeway for being the youngest, so I don't mind that. My older brother and I always used to evenly split tasks, or have a system of taking turns. Somehow we had a trade-off where I would heat up stuff for dinner every day and he would disinfect groceries. However, this job doesn't exist anymore since the pandemic ended. In general, I don't do that much, but it's a lot more than he does, and my parents were surprisingly telling him off about it pretty often until recently. He doesn't lift a finger to help in the house anymore. He very, very recently got used to driving, so he sometimes drives us around or something, but that's it. And he will definitely mention it and announce that that's his contribution. Typical. And yeah, it's something, but not nearly the amount that I help around with. And now when I complain that he doesn't do anything, even clearing up or setting the table, my parents stop scolding him for it. They tell me that he's going to have to earn for his family one day, but for context, he has no job yet, and he won't be worrying about household chores then. Okay. So now I should stop bringing him into it. Lord almighty. So my parents have a traditional gender role mindset. Yes, I can tell. I'm a feminist to a fair degree, like I'm reasonable about it, and I don't mind having to do housework in future as long as it's a decision made by me and my future husband and what works best for us, not something that's pre-decided. Amen. My parents don't get that. I do so much and I really hate housework right now. I wouldn't mind it at all if we both were given equal things to do. My parents are stuck on the you won't have to worry about providing for your family, even knowing that I'm getting a college degree and I have intentions of starting a career. They're usually so supportive of all of that, but I don't know if they expect me to drop everything once I'm married. It makes no sense. And also, I can't really talk back or anything. My parents make a big deal about all of that. I'm also dead broke and I can't work because I don't have my own vehicle, and they'd never let me move out, trust me. I'm stuck, I don't know what to do because I hate doing housework, maybe only because of the stigma associated with it, but I'm forced to, and my brothers get to lounge around and do nothing. I honestly relate to that so much in terms of hating the idea of doing household stuff or things that traditionally are only meant for women, for them to do those jobs, because of the emphasis put on the fact that only women are meant to do those jobs. I find it crazy and so confusing when parents push their daughters into education and they make them work really hard for grades and, you know, get good jobs and, you know, seem really modern in that way, but then still when it comes to being at home, they have a son and a daughter and they treat them so differently, and they still expect the daughter to do all the household chores and, you know, clean up after everybody, and they seem to be so focused on that being the woman's role, but the son or the brother doesn't really have those same responsibilities. I've definitely been in that same situation myself, so I understand the frustration, and it's really hard in that situation to not grow a bit of resentment towards your sibling in a situation like that, because they're not going to see it from your point of view, because they're almost being taught that that's the way things should be. So realistically, the only way a situation like that would be resolved is if your parents actually decided, okay, this needs to be fair, which obviously sounds like they won't do. The reason is because he's going to provide for a family one day. Oh my god, I pray so hard that anyone raising children in our generation teaches sons and daughters equally about household chores, about cooking their own dinners, about any aspect of life, their own laundry, cleaning that for themselves. And yes, go out to work as well and go do a full day's work and still be able to function in a household by yourself. There is absolutely no reason for any man or woman to not know in this generation, or any generation for that matter, but obviously we can't help what was taught in previous generations. We can just kind of help guide the future ones. And there is no excuse for no one to not know how to cook a meal, to not know how to put their laundry on, to not know how to get the hoover out and clean up after themselves. There's no excuse for it. And I don't care what you are. You could be an alien. Whether you're a man or a woman, those should be basic things that you know and understand. And even if you are the one to go out to work, and even if your wife stays at home, you should still be capable of doing those things. It's probably even more frustrating for you knowing that you are studying and you've got your own things going on, and as probably does he. So it almost does feel like whatever he's got going on in his life takes more priority, or seems like is more important to them than what you've got going on, aka your studies and you working towards your own career. Like, it kind of makes it feel like that's valued less, which it definitely isn't of less value, let me tell you that for sure. Like, you going for your education and working towards your own career is amazing, and continue to do that. And just, make sure you get your head down and don't lose focus of that, because it's so important for you to have your education behind you and your own career, so then you don't get lumbered with a man that expects you to sit at home all day and do everything, and is going to be the breadwinner, but then also kind of expects a maid as a wife. Like, that's not our generation. That is not how marriages operate anymore. So it's kind of sad that they're putting that on you. All I can say really is I would still continue to raise when you think things are unfair, because I think it's almost impossible not to. Like, you don't want to lose your voice, and you don't want to feel like you have to suppress how you feel when you think things are unfair, even if you think it's falling on deaf ears. So I would continue to still raise it. I would also sit down and have a conversation with your brother. If your parents aren't listening and they're not understanding your point of view because they have these really traditional mindsets of what your role's going to be once you leave the home, I would sit down with your brother and I would just talk to him about how you feel and how it would really help you out if he would, care about your feelings a bit more and actually offer to help you more, irrespective of what his parents expect of him. I think that's kind of how I would approach it if it got to that stage of me actually starting to feel like actual resentment towards him because of the difference in treatment. Because ultimately it's not really his fault, but also if you approach him directly, knowing that he's older as well and he should really have his own mind and have care for you as his little sister, then hopefully through his own choice he will actually try to help you out and even the lows, so that you can get on with your studies and you can focus on your own life, and you both can have even load of chores while getting on with your own things. So I would approach him directly, maybe instead of like trying to go through your parents if that route's not working, because I think depending on your relationship with your sibling, it obviously depends on that and how close you are and how compassionate you think he would be. But I definitely think that's an approach worth taking. So on to the next one. Somebody asked how to make friends in 20s / after finishing uni. Making friends in your 20s, I've had such a mixed experience with this, because I have friends now that I've made in my 20s, and probably majority of my friends at the moment that I'm close to are the ones that I've made after uni. Actually, a lot of my friends that I've met outside of work, school, uni have been online, and I find it so funny like to say that, because people talk so much about the idea of online dating and finding your partner for life online, but nobody really talks about how you can find friends online, and you can find people that have similar interests to you, and you can find people that you enjoy their company and you talk to, and they can become friends for life online. So that's how I've made my friends personally in my 20s. Even for me, it's been super hard to find people in person to actually relate to and to actually become friends with on a genuine level, because there's not that many opportunities compared to, well, not to say that school and uni was really an opportunity. I guess you're kind of forced in a situation where you're meeting tons of new people all the time, so of course you're going to end up clicking with somebody or a group of people. But when you move on to work life, and unless you take up hobbies, there's a lot more limited you know, exposure to people and new people more consistently, like you were having in like your uni days. So mathematically, you are just less likely to, you know, meet your friends for life. So I think there's no harm in just engaging with people online. Now, I know it's quite difficult because almost anyone that has like a proper public presence online is generally like an influencer or someone that has that as a job, and that might not necessarily be someone that you want to be friends with. But I definitely think there are communities online that you can join and get involved in discussions about things. Or there's Bumble, I think there's Bumble BFF, where you can actually go on an app similar to a dating app and actually just make friends instead of find a boyfriend. So if you are struggling to make friends in your 20s, there are definitely options. The way I've done it is via online. I'm sure there's other routes, so you can obviously like take up more hobbies, just get out of the house more if you do want to get that organic kind of meeting new people and, you know, like clicking with them in person and becoming friends with them that way. Then just be more open-minded when you're out and about. Like even if you bump into someone on the street, like don't be afraid to strike up random conversations with people on the train while you're doing your day-to-day things, because you never know what could come of it. The older you get, I feel like you just have to be more intentional when you meet new people, and you have to be just a lot more open in different scenarios, because you're not going to be plonked in a setting where you're around loads of new people and forced to, you know, connect with them. When you're in your adult life, a lot of the time you're going to have to seek those connections yourself. So just be more open to, I guess, connecting with people in different ways, and the ways that I've mentioned. Hopefully that's a good start anyway. Okay, so on to the next one. The next person said, any advice for the girls looking to settle down but haven't found the one yet? If I was the age I am now and I was still kind of single and wanting to have someone in my life but hadn't met them yet, I think the thing I would constantly repeat to myself is that I would much rather be in the position I'm in right now, aka single, don't have anyone in my life, you know, just got myself to rely on, than be with the wrong person. And I think that's so important to realize, is that a lot of people your age or younger than you or even older than you, a lot of people are in relationships and they seem like, you know, they've got companionship and they've got someone that they do life with, and maybe they're even married, but they're not happy. They're not with a person that is right for them. And what position would you rather be in? Would you rather still be waiting for that right person, or would you rather have settled for the wrong person? Now, I know obviously that's like a worst case scenario of like being with the wrong person, but at least you're not in that position, because the grass always looks greener, and we always look at people in relationships and think, oh my god, like they're so happy and I wish I was in that situation, and why can't that be me? Why haven't I found my person yet? The amount of people that go through breakups, divorces, struggles in their relationships, the grass isn't always greener. And I know it's not ideal being on your own, and I know it's not ideal being single when you want to find your person, and I know it's not ideal still waiting for that person to pop up into your life, but it really could be worse. And just be grateful that it's not worse, and be grateful that you're not in a situation where you're trying to get out of it, or you're not happy in that situation. You're completely free to make all your decisions. You're completely free to go into new situations, decide if that person's right for you. You're not tied down to any situation. Like, you have complete freedom of choice, and you have the power in your life. So enjoy that period of time, and just make sure when you do come across people, maybe you're dating or maybe you're just putting yourself out there, make sure you are focusing on the right things, and make sure you're not rushing into it because you feel like, you know, time's getting away from me and it's time to settle down and I have to be ready now. And, you know, don't settle for less, because the worst thing you could do is be in a situation where you have settled and it's not the right person for you, and now you have to figure out how to get out of it. So you're in a good situation, trust me. You're in a better situation than you probably think you are. That's basically what I would continue to remind myself of if I was in that situation. I'm sure it's not nice feeling like, oh, all these other people getting married and engaged and having babies and, you know, progressing with their life and they found their person. Yes, that might be the case, but there's also a lot of people out there that are going through really tricky times with their partners and going through awful sticky situations and are trapped in situations that they can't get out of. And there is a whole other side to being in relationships as well. So just be thankful that you still have the ball in your court and you are still, you know, looking for that perfect person, and make sure you continue to look for that person without lowering your standards, because they will come around, but you just have to, you know, keep the faith, hold on to that hope and just go through life feeling excited that that day is gonna come. Okay, so someone also asked on a very similar line, how to know when he's the one. I get this question probably almost daily on my socials, especially since I obviously announced that I got married recently. That's like the #1 question all the girlies want to know. How do you know when he's the one? I honestly wish I had a straightforward answer for this, but I have so many different answers for it. Also going to be very different for different people. So for me personally, I personally think you know when someone's the one when they add to your life. If someone isn't adding to your life and they're coming into your life and wanting to join partnership with you, but they're not making your life any better, they are not the one. If they're not doing anything for you that you can do for yourself, or if not even that, but if they're not improving your life, like improving your happiness, improving your security, improving any aspect of your life, they are not the one. Your partner should be improving your life. It's not just a case of you're a partnership now and you split things equally now and this whole 50-50 BS. For me, it was so important to know that someone's values aligned with my own. The character of the person that I chose to marry was so crucial for me. It's so hard to explain to people how you knew that exact person was the one, because there are so many things that come into it and there's so many unexplainable things as well. It's like, how do I explain to you that his aura and his energy, the way he carries himself, the way he treats people, his values in life, the way he motivates me, the way he is motivated and driven and so ambitious and so hardworking. And obviously there are things that can be explained, but there's just so many things. I feel like you can, you know, have in your mind, okay, well, this person needs to be like this, needs to be like that, and I think that's fine to do. But ultimately when you meet the one, I feel like it's so much deeper than just like ticking those boxes. It's like, I can't imagine my life without this person, and I think this person actually makes me a better person. This person I learn so much from. This person improves my life so much, and this person is like everything I wanted in a partner. I feel like that's probably when you know they're the one. Now I will say that nobody is perfect, okay? And I don't want to give this picture of like, okay, that picture perfect, no flaws person exists. It doesn't. There are always going to be people with flaws. I think maybe the one also comes down to you see their flaws and you're okay with them. Like, their flaws aren't deal breakers to you. I feel like that's the crucial thing that people probably don't talk about a lot, is there are deal breakers in every situation and there are flaws in every person. You just got to find that person that their flaws, whatever they are not deal breakers to you and are not the core things that you look for in a person that they're not able to give you. You have to kind of look at the upside and the downside. There is so much to take into account. I don't think it's an easy decision just picking a person to like spend the rest of your life with. I feel like it definitely takes a lot of thought. This whole like love at first sight, and I just knew. Well, yeah, you do just know, but there's also like reasons behind that, but sometimes it's hard to put those reasons into words sometimes. So hopefully I've kind of conveyed it in as best way as I could have done. Hopefully that was helpful, but you'll probably find that loads of people answer that question differently as well. So it is definitely like a preference thing or a personal thing really on how you define the one for you. So take what other people say with a pinch of salt as well when it comes to like finding the one, or how do you know who's the one, because in your heart of hearts you will know, like you will have that feeling, but also be a bit guided by logic and by what you think will be compatible with you in the long term as well. Is that the person you see raising your kids? Oh, another good one. If you have birthed a child and they turned out exactly like that person, would you be proud of them? Would you be really happy to have a kid like that? And you know, the way they treated other people, the way they acted, the way they behaved, the way they treated you, would you be proud of that? Like, that you'd raise someone like that? Like, put that into perspective as well. And if the answer is no, then that he's not the one for you. He really isn't. Okay guys, I'm gonna leave that video there. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope I managed to get to your dilemma, or maybe I answered something similar to a dilemma that you're facing. and I was able to help in some way. I did try to get through as many as I could in this video. I don't want to make it crazy long. Maybe we can do a part 2 and I can answer some more in another video. Let me know if you guys want to see this series continue in the comments below, because it will definitely give me the motivation to continue filming these for you, because I really enjoy them. I mean, I'm so comfortable right now. I do love videos like this. I love watching videos like this where it's just such comfy girly vibes, and we just get to have a proper little chat and, you know, talk about life with each other. Because do you know what, life is hard. Life is really hard, and I hope I've given the best advice I could have done, but I think sometimes it's just nice to know that people relate and your problems aren't unique to you. There's always other people going through similar things to you, and I think that's so important to recognize when you're going through tough times in life, is that you're not alone in it. You are not alone. You're not the first person to have gone through it, and you won't be the last. And I know things sometimes feel so heavy and so difficult, but you will get through it. I know you will, because you are super strong. You're so powerful, more than you can imagine. So just keep the faith and just keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, I really hope that I was able to help in some way. So do give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And if you were just someone, you know, coming for the tea and coming for the entertainment, I hope we delivered on that front as well. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna love you guys and leave you now, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye guys.